Welcome to First Dates and Soulmates, the podcast where we talk about stories that would make my mother and my mother's mother and my mother's 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 blush so hard. And I'm excited because I'm Nikki McKnight.
And I'm Meg Gatefold.
And today, Meg, we are welcoming, I am going to say this with a degree of seriousness, one of the authors that both of us have read, our best friends have read. We're always talking about this author and the new releases they have. So please welcome to the podcast, Eden Finley. Eden, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So excited to have you here again. And I feel like this is something I mention with a lot of authors when they join us on the show, but that makes sense because we invite our favorite people. So of course we've read it. I'm pretty sure I've read everything you've ever written in your entire career. I'm such a huge fan. We are prolific writers, prolific readers. We have it all going on. But could you share with the audience to kind of get us started? How did you get your start? What is your author origin story? What has gotten you to who you are today?
So where I am, it's a bit of a long story. So I used to, when I was 28, I wrote a list of 30 things I wanted to do before I was 30. And one of them was write a book. So back then it was all about Hunger Games and Divergent and all of those books. So I wrote a young adult book and I fell in love with writing again. Like I did it in high school. I did literature classes in high school, but didn't actually think it could be a career. And then, I wrote this book, put it out in the world for free and people loved it. And that turned into a 6-book series. I quit my part-time job, started doing that. And then because I'm definitely the type of author who writes what I'm reading or what I'm into at the moment, my sister got me onto MF romance. So then I started writing that. And then Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy with him. That was my first MM book that I read. And then ever since then, it's basically been exclusive MM. I still read FF and I read MF and everything, but it's very rare that I pick up those books. So yeah, and then with Fake Out, I was literally put all my savings into getting that book edited and out because my young adult income had reduced significantly while I was writing MF. And my husband's like, you're going to have to go back to work. Like, if this doesn't work, you're going to have to go back to work. And Fake Out hit it gigantically big.
Yeah.
And so then ever since then, it's been one book after the other.
Yeah, I love that Fake Out was kind of that big one. When we were preparing for an episode we did on the fake dating trope, one of the first places we always go is Reddit. You know, what are people talking about? What are people reading? And it was really fun to see Fake Out show up almost everywhere that we looked. Even in like the non-MM romance books Reddit, like it was everywhere. And it became, to me, at least from like my perspective, such like a touchstone in the fake dating and in the sports romance genre that most of the time it's like, have you guys read Fake Out? Have you read Fake Out? Have you read Fake Out? And that has now spawned all of these other books and interconnected universes, but it really started with Fake Out.
With Fake Out, yeah.
And Nikki suggested Fake Out to me, and I started reading the series, and I saw that it was called the Fake Boyfriend series, and I was like, how is she going to pull off 5 books in the series that are all fake boyfriends? And it wasn't until I finished book 3, and I was like, oh, they're not all fake boyfriends. No. But then I read the author's notes, and every time you're like, it was supposed to be a fake boyfriend, but then these characters kind of took up on their own, or I chased this storyline, and that just felt so, like, real to me of like, we can plot as much as we want, but what happens on the page, we can't control these characters.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm. So we had brought up this idea of talking about multi-generational stories or stories and universes that start with certain couples and then we catch up with them a little bit later and it's now their children and their children have aged. By the time that second series, they're older.
Magically.
Everybody is legal. The passage has time has passage. Why is that a structure, or how did that become a structure that you decided I am going to take on more generations. I'm going to take on families.
Yeah. So after the fake boyfriend series, I was like, I put in that opener where they had children for the off chance. I'm like, in a couple of years, like, I'll write their story. But it was supposed to be a long enough time that people would no longer associate them as children. But then with the FU series, when Saxon approached me about that and doing the shared world, I was like, no, I don't have the time. I don't have this. And then Peyton was in my head kind of like going, And I'm like, okay, we're doing this a lot earlier than planned. But yeah, I think the fake boyfriend characters are just always so easy to go back to. And I wrote Final Play because I wasn't ready to let them go. And I thought that would be the end. And then I'm like, oh, just leave a little bit of an opening for possible more stories. And of course, it had to be the Talon Millers who went, yep, I'm first.
Of course they're first.
It had to be Talon. Do you have like a rule of once I'm writing a second generation story, I can max out like only 3 couples from different series, or like I need to tap Damon all in every one of them because he's sort of the core character where it all began, and that's why he gets this. But then every book I get to pull in different sort of like touchstones.
I generally just go with whatever my characters do. So I'll be, and especially writing with Saxon as well, I'll be like, so none of my stories stick to plan. So Saxon is a plotter and she'll be like, okay, so we're writing this and this in the next two chapters. And I'll message her halfway through going, they didn't listen. So that's not happening. And that happens with nearly every book with me because I just write whenever I'm feeling. So
I love that. It's very much the concept of improv in a way. Instead of yes and, your characters are going no but, and then you have to like write Saxon. I had nothing to do with this. This was like non-consensual plot editing on the behalf of my characters. It wasn't me. It was me. I was there. I knew your plan. Your plan was a great plan. They did it.
And yet you keep writing together.
Yeah. Well, she also does it in my defense. But yeah, like when we agreed to work together, I was like, look, I am a control freak when it comes to my writing. And if something's not working, I'm going to say it's not working. And I'll be like, and my characters have a mind of their own. So good luck. But yeah, no, we work well together. So yeah.
Yeah. I love it. When thinking about Peyton and Brady and like that second generation, which again, we're going to be talking about The Office Bet later. I just finished reading it. It's just that scene when they get like the Lifetime Achievement Award, and there's this scene where he's like, this feels right. Yeah. Also, my career ended 20 years ago, so where have y'all been? Like, it very much that vibe is here right now. What was the biggest challenge of approaching I'll call them the kids. They are full grown ass adults in their books, but in my brain, the second generation, the kids. So what was the biggest challenge of writing those characters in to the same universe where their parents have had this huge story and many people know them? Like the Franklin U spinoff, I think was so great to kind of kick that off. It's like, cool. Parents are away from their kids. College is its own like little self-contained ecosystem. Yeah. But how did you kind of approach the challenge of the kids are now grown up, they're legal adults, chill, but they now need to have their own space and they need to have their own development without kind of that looming specter of their parents?
That was the biggest issue was math, because I am bad at math and I'm trying to work out how old they're all supposed to be and everything. I've done the math like 3 times and people will still point out, that age is not right. I'll be like,
oh, geez, come on.
I counted, but I don't trust my math. But no, the balance between, like bringing in those old characters for, you know, the fans and then having people read it as a new story. It's, yeah, the balance is really hard to get right. And I'm sure people think that I haven't achieved it. But yeah, I just mainly focused on the kids as if they were brand new characters, and every side character, it would be introduced how it would if it was a brand new story and you'd never met them before. But
I love that.
So that's how I kind of tackle it. And then if I, you know, Talon shows his personality enough, people will go, oh, I want to go back and read his story, because they're not getting it in the new books. They just...
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened with me. Is I started with Brady's book because I came to you later, and I started there, and then every one of those fake boyfriend couples came to like a family reunion, and I was like, who are these people? And then I went back and read Fake Boyfriend because I was so intrigued by it. So I think that it can be something where it reintroduces people into a universe, which then opens the door to Pop Story universe, which that, you know, like, and so they're connected without being sequential.
Yeah.
Which is so hard to balance.
It is. It's really difficult. Even with the Office Spec coming out, it wasn't until I started writing a list of the amount of cameos that are in that book, and I'm like, oh, this might overwhelm someone who hasn't read any of my books before, but I'm hoping I've pulled it off to at least, not be too overwhelming.
Yeah, I think that was so true with the Fake Boyfriend series, because truth be told, I think I read it completely out of order, which was funny when we were going back to read the series for the episode we did on it. I was kind of looking at my Kindle Unlimited. It was like, this is a new book, or you borrowed this book 4 years ago and that didn't show up for Fake Out. And I was like, have I not read this? I thought I had. But I loved with the Office Spec, with book 1 in the Kingsport series too. It was nice to see them, but I definitely feel like, to Meg's point, you're intrigued to go see them. You paint a really great picture in a short amount of time of, oh, it's their parent, this is their relationship, this is what they're annoyed by. Fantastic. Or even with Damon, like when
or their boss, right?
Yeah,
this is their boss. This is the boss's
people.
Partner, and this is the boss's partner's sister, and they're gonna go do irreverent things and get kicked out. And you're like, what the hell just happened with Maddie and Stacey? Like, and I missed them. But if I hadn't read their book first, I would have been like, who are these people? So I love that.
Yeah.
One of the things I am constantly thinking about in my ADHD brain, as we've discussed, spicy brains here today, is keeping track of timelines. Now, we did put a poll on our Instagram stories to see if anybody in our audience had questions for you. And I would like to shout out Olivia Carter, who did ask, how old is Damon really? So I feel like we've addressed the age question mostly. And there's so many authors that I love, like Onley James is another one. She's like, I don't know. I don't care. Pick an age. If that's the age you feel they are, I'm going to go with that, because I will not math. But irrespective of age.
She also has that like weird like stepfather stepson
there's some stuff
relationship where you're like, I don't want to know, I just don't want to know.
We don't think about things. But irrespective of age, there are things like family trees and relations. And one of the things I really liked in the Office Spec, which again we're going to discuss a little bit later, was it wasn't the Office Spec, sorry, it was the first one. They got to see Brady's relationship, and like he's sneaking in his boyfriends to the cabin next door, and nobody knows there's 2 of them yet, but we know because we read that book. So how do you kind of keep track of when things are happening in the universe, who's related to whom, when certain things happen? Because we've often get to see certain situations from somebody else's point of view in a different book.
Yeah. So it's going to come back to math again, but so how I keep track, like not very well, but how they're related, that's all in my head, like that kind of imprinted in my brain. But the ages and as things happen, it's like coming up with Stubborn Puckboy, in that Novi and Colby, our 2 main characters, their prologue is 17 years ago. So Saxon and I actually had to go back and figure out from where we were in Puckboys to where Hat Trick finished, where Soren and Ollie came out. Deke. Yeah, we had to work out. We're like, oh, they would have come out the year before that. So we've kept track of it that way. And there's a lot of scribbling and notes. And I'm like, does this math work out?
See, I feel like a lot of people went into a creative field like writing because they're like, oh, math, algebra, calculus, I'm never going to use that. I'm going to be a writer. And here are the writers going, there's so much math.
And I would love to hear, like, how much of this is you going, okay, here's my list of my series Bible, for lack of a better term, versus your readers being like, oh, Eden, did you see how you had, this character has green eyes and so does this character? Because when we interviewed C. Rochelle, she said that happens all the time, where they're like, oh, look at how well you set this up. And she's like, I totally planned that.
Yeah, definitely planned it. I have to have little post-it notes with, this character has blue eyes, brown hair.
I have to put celebrities, so that way I can be oh, well, obviously Brad Pitt has this color eyes, so that's who that character does, because I feel like I can't keep them straight otherwise. So I bet it's nearly impossible.
I could not. At least with eye color, there's a finite number of eye colors that you're like, it's going to be one of 4. But hair color or tattoos and what those tattoos are, how tall they are. Folks, imagination is a great thing. Picture it. Picture it. Stop asking authors to do math. Outside of your own work and these series, is there any other, I'll call them multi-generational stories, like in books or film, that you really like? Or are there story structures like that you kind of look at for inspiration, or to be like, oh, cool, I like how that was done in that particular book or piece of media?
I was gonna say, I don't really have any that I can think of that's multi-generational. But in terms of family dynamics, I like to think of, Modern Family, how there's just so many different types of families. And I was going to say, most of my characters are Phil Dunphy. He's basically one of the kids. And,
oh, man.
There has to be one responsible party in every series. It's like Damon is sort of in charge of making sure that they don't set the world on fire in that series.
Yeah. And then he's just passing the torch to others in the other series. But yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's usually a voice of reason, but it's not the loud characters.
Yeah, you're true. I think it's far more common with series to have it be like friends or siblings as the one that kind of extends it. Again, we were talking with Kay Sterling about her Princess in New York series, and her thing was, authors always give your characters siblings, because you never know when people are going to turn around and ask for something else. So everybody should have at least 2 or 3 siblings to continue on. The only one that I could really think of was Michelle Notaro and the Brunswick Chronicles and that kind of fantasy series being that multi-generational thing, because there's time slippages and things like that. Other than that, for me, it really just goes into older film, not as much in books. And I wonder if part of that is not being able to think of the kids as being
as adults,
grown up. And maybe it's something to do, because in film you can kind of have that little chyron that says 15 years later, and all of a sudden they're played by a different actor, and you're like, time has gone. Awesome. And maybe there's just not a connection to seeing that in a book, or authors are like, I don't want to do that math. No.
The people who don't want to take on the math, but do it.
I feel like you have 2 ages. You have old enough and silver fox, and there's nowhere in between. There's no numbers. Why do we need numbers?
No, not at all. So with these characters, and now that next generation is getting a little bit more play in the King Sports series, and when they're starting to bring in their friends, and we've got Ted's brother Wilder is now in there, so there's again, we're adding in more people. Things are coming. Has there ever been a moment where, I'll say, fan expectations of what I would call your legacy characters, so Damon and Talon-Millers
Yeah.
come up. Has that ever impacted how you developed the newer storylines with, oh, I love it when Damon does this, and you're like, that's a good idea, I'm gonna kind of take that in, or oh, I totally thought it would do that, and you're like, no, absolutely not, he would never do that. So has there ever been like that fan interaction with impacting how you write?
There has been. That's usually always, even if it's like, oh, I'm so excited for like to see Damon again, it's going to be hilarious. I'll go, oh no, I have to make that funny. So
write me a funny scene, Eden.
Yeah, it can be crippling. Like, I mean, they're going, no, have to make it funny, and then I'll just be blocked for days. And yeah, but yeah, so it's scary in that sense. But without that enthusiasm, then I probably wouldn't, be writing it. So, yeah, it's great, but scary. And yeah, a lot of the times when someone's said, oh, like, it would be funny if this happened, I find if I try to write it to appease the fans, then I end up, like, it ends up stilted and not flowy. So I have to just put it out of my mind and listen to my characters and do what they want to do, or it just doesn't work.
You have to let them break into someone else's house and steal their baby. Like, you can't stop them. Who can stop him?
Oh my God, that scene. To show up like, oh, by the way, we're here and there's a baby. Who are you and why are you holding my baby? Y'all, The Office bet. Get into it. We'll get into it. Baby kidnapping. And then to look up what level of crime it was in the state of New York later.
It was only a misdemeanor. It wasn't a felony.
There you go. Going over to our Instagram questions again. Question, what is the silliest reason you've ever scrapped a storyline?
I can only think of one storyline that I've actually scrapped completely, and that was in the original Fake Boyfriend series. Jet was supposed to be paired with Ollie, and I started writing it. I got about 20,000 words into it, and they literally felt like friends. I'm like, this is not, there's no sexual tension. There's nothing. They're literally just friends. And so I decided that Jet needed a little bit of growing up to do. And yeah. And then when it came to Hat Trick, which is his book, like I forget if it was at the end of Deke or at Blindsided, that they all met up and Jet met Soren. And I was like, you had your chance at a hockey player. What are you doing? And he was like, no, I want that one.
He's going through a buffet going, excuse me, Eden, that one,
yeah.
please, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just like fine. And also like recurring theme, and we've talked about my general feelings on sports romances on the show before. They give me so much anxiety because one of my number one things that I like is the forced outing bit of it, because it's prevalent in a lot of sports romances. So whether or not the story actually has it in the back of my mind, it's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? The locker room, everybody sucks. Toxic masculinity is here again. One of the things I really loved now, having read The Backup Plan and The Office Bat, kind of getting into that next universe, is that evolution of how queerness has been depicted in those books and how each of the characters have experienced that. So when you think about writing, again, like we're in the, you're not writing these 25 years apart. So in real time, when it actually comes to publishing, it's a smaller date. But when we consider, college kids in the Franklin U series, to kind of where they are now in the King Sports series at that age, to then like the really pro athletes in the Puckboy series, and then you've got the elder crowd, the Silver Foxes, the how old are they, we don't know crowd from that Fake Boyfriend universe. What was your approach to writing the queer experience for those characters who are experiencing it at different life stages and in different scenarios?
Yeah. So like because Fake Boyfriend and Puckboys are on a very similar timeline, I feel like they're of the era where, like in reality, there still isn't an out NHL player there was one who was drafted, Luke Prokop. That's probably not how you pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. But yeah, so
no,
he
you're the
came
author.
out.
You are the one that decides how it's pronounced. You're the only one who gets to decide how it's pronounced.
But yeah, so he came out when he was drafted, but he's only played in the ECHL and AHL since. But yeah, it feels like hockey in reality is still one of those sports that's very toxic when it comes to queer men. And so we don't want to minimize what real athletes go through, but at the same time, we want to write in an optimistic world. We write the world we want to live in, not the world we actually do, which is why like a lot of our characters are either already out or they don't have to go through that coming out phase. Stubborn Puckboy is actually very different because Novi is from Russia. And we know that, Russia still it's not illegal to be gay anymore, but they have anti-propaganda laws in Russia where you can be arrested for even supporting someone who's gay. So we have that. So he has to go through a coming out story when he's 37, 38 years of age. So yeah, with sports, there's always that toxic masculinity and everything in it. Not great.
Good old boys club, the rah, don't jeopardize your money. And what was interesting to me in the office bet, there's even this discussion of, I don't just want to do hockey, I have a NASCAR podcast. And it's instead of I want to come out and talk about my love life, it's like, cool, that's not as much of an issue. It's don't talk about NASCAR. Don't talk about non-hockey things. So that was kind of fun to see that discussion in the office bet of it's, this character is not out and maybe won't be. We don't know. Only Eden does. But just really wants to talk about NASCAR and please give me the freedom to talk about NASCAR. Good job. Talk about NASCAR, sweetie.
I am so curious. Being a non-American writing all American and American sports and Canadian sports, like how and not one sport, not like I'm gonna get really fucking good at talking about hockey, but you're like your hockey, your baseball, your NASCAR, your your American football, no soccer players yet. Now you're starting to like, and I am like I'm the American in the conversation, right? But like. I don't follow this. And one of the reasons I like your books is because it's like sports adjacent, but it's not like, okay, tell me every single play that happens. It's only like, what are the plays that actually matter to the couple? And I don't care most of the time. I'm like, just fast forward those parts. But like, how do you write well about multiple sports that maybe you don't watch? Like how?
So hockey is the one sport that I understand, and still to this day. And it's only because I usually love watching hockey. NFL, I still do not understand NFL at all. And so the trick with that is to just be as vague as possible. And
you're like, we'll just go to training camp and then the Super Bowl. That's
then nothing.
In Football Royalty, I made sure to have all the football scenes from Levi's point of view, who does not play or understand.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that. I get to see a chapter starting. He walked into the stadium ready for the game. He left the stadium after his game, and the story continues. Yeah, as a Canadian in the group, I don't even watch hockey.
I figured you'd say I have beta readers who make sure that it sounds a certain way, or I have people who double check it.
Yeah, with the backup plan with baseball, I had 3 baseball fans read it, and they were like, "You're all good," and then I still had messages saying that I got something wrong, and I was like, "Yep, that checks out." But usually when that happens, it's that I've gone back into editing and gone, oh, this actually sounds better. And then I've changed what was there. And then you find out that that's wrong.
That's why
Yeah,
I just
so I was
think
gonna say,
like all books should have like a little asterisk at the beginning, because a lot of times you see it now with like legal things or royalty things. It's like, this is inspired by, or thank you so much to so and so who works for this organization. Any changes or mistakes are mine only because it's a made up world. So sit down. I feel like
yeah.
sports need a little asterisk. These are my rules. All my rules. Like, I'm Canadian and I'm not even a huge hockey fan. But again, the sports are really
Is that
accessible.
allowed in your country?
I tell you, they have tried to kick me out numerous times.
I told her she can come here, that I'll just adopt her, but she,
yeah, upstate New York is not exactly appealing for me, Meg.
Oh, and we should talk about that too. So, Eden, I'm in upstate New York, and when I got to this book and I was like, oh, she has characters that are on hockey teams in Buffalo and Rochester, and I'm a Rochesterian. I live in Rochester. I was like, they're totally going to get snowed in, because why the hell else?
Why would you send someone to upstate New York if they were not going to get snowed in or have flight delays because of snow?
And like, you wrote the flight delay, and I was like, accurate. And then you wrote the like rental car terminal being shut down, and I'm like, and then you were like, but the trains are still running, and I was like, no fucking way. But it totally works for the plot. I wasn't going to be like, oh my God, Amtrak, blah, blah, blah.
I really just needed him to have a really terrible time.
Yes,
and
I do
it
like
totally works here, but it was one of those things as the local being like, I love that you chose my city, and also, like, you are so optimistic about mass transit in America.
State of New York. We love it. Okay, so let's talk more specifically about The Office Bet. We've been talking a little bit about it. So I'm going to try to keep it relatively spoiler free, but
But if you're listening to this
it
live, it comes out tomorrow, so go get it.
Yeah, go read the book and then come back and listen to it if you're worried about spoilers. So, Eden, what can you tell us about how The Office Bet came to be? Did you, when you wrote the backup plan, did you already know who was going to take book 2? Like, how did this book and the characters you chose in it, did they surprise you and be like, hello, I know we were supposed to be book 5, but hello, we would like to be the next one, please?
Yeah, so all throughout the backup plan, I was like, oh, I have to introduce Dad's brother, Wilder, because he's next. He's going to be next. He's going to be next. And when I got to the end, I'm like, Wilder has not even shown up yet. So I'm like, where are you? So, yeah, I went with, like, Zaka as well. He was a surprise. He wasn't supposed to, that wasn't an option. And then I was like, okay, it could be an option. And then I went with, like, at the end, I was like, oh, I should introduce 2 people who could be a couple, or set up a storyline that I'm good with, which is enemies to lovers. And just so if Zaka and Wilder aren't talking or whatever, I have a backup plan.
Ta-da!
Wait, you built a backup plan into the backup plan.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yes. And then they ended up, being all like, no, we're next, jumping the queue. So.
Oh, I love that. So we have Archer and Fox kind of taking center stage in this one. I love enemies to lovers. I love the way in which they kind of mess with each other. Like, as we said, that little, I'm going to Syracuse. No, Buffalo. No, oops, where did I end up? We do love a little bit of plotting. One of the questions we got on our Instagram was if there is a quote or a particular moment that's stuck in your head from The Office Bet that you're like, this scene really sums up what this book is or what this story is.
Oh, that's a difficult question. It would probably be the, Link of Fox has been messed with so much by Archer just being completely cutthroat and stealing clients and everything. So when he thinks he's getting a little bit of payback just by, telling the teen travel agent that he's going to a different city than what he has said, like, And then he was like, oh, he's just going to have to change his whites. Like, it's not going to be a big deal. Like, he thinks that's revenge. But yeah, fate ends up giving him good revenge.
Snowstorms, mass transit. Oh, it's great. Meg, what?
And the moral of the story is always be nice to the operations people.
Yes, thank you. Justice for operations professionals. We have a sticker. It's at our TeePublic store. Meg, what was your kind of standout moment for the office bet that was like, yeah, this is it?
I think it was the moment where they meet with his sister. Was it Archer's sister?
Archer's sister and dad.
Archer's sister and dad. And Archer has been so cutthroat the whole time, and he represents his athlete siblings, and his dad has been so high pressure and feels like he's a failure, and Archer's cutthroat because he wants to impress his dad. And that moment where he realizes, like, oh, my dad's a piece of shit. And my siblings are going to come with me no matter what. And I don't need to impress my dad. I can think about myself instead. That to me was the moment that the book sort of came to life.
Yeah, that was such a great, that was a great moment. One of the funniest bits that I really just laughed out loud at this is that they're at one of the awards banquets. I don't remember which one it was, either the external or the internal one. And of course, Archer and Lincoln kind of like sneak away. They lock the bathroom door, and then, they have some fun. And then that homophobic coach or GM kind of like knocks on the door, and they kind of make a snarky remark, and they get back to the table, and people are like, where were you? What took you so long? And they say, oh, somebody locked the bathroom door. There was a lineup. And I think it might've been Brady looks at his dads and go, you said you guys weren't going to do that at events anymore. And I think it was Talon. I think that was like, Talon. He was so like, obviously he didn't know what was going on. It wasn't him, but the way he responded, being like, what are you talking about? Like it was clearly them trying to cover their ass. I laughed so hard because I was like, that's a cameo that I love. It's like, hey, parentals, you often had sex in public places, and I told you how much I hated it. You did it again. They're like, we didn't do it. And then nobody believed them. I loved that moment.
I loved when Talon showed up in that scene and was like, okay, spill the tea. Like, he didn't know anybody there, but he showed up as himself. I feel like, Eden, do you feel like you have certain characters that you have to, like, restrain so that way they don't chew the scenery and take up every scene that they're in?
Definitely. Like, in Peyton's book, I was very much had to go, Talon, sit down. It's not your book. Like, you've had your book. You're not the main character here. Talon is always easy to just tap into. So is Damon, which is weird because they're very opposite.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Damon,
Damon's Talon.
Like a stern brunch daddy. He's there to lay down the law and to keep things on track as much as you can. He's sort of like, maybe he's like the Saxon being like, no, the plot was supposed to be this.
That's probably actually very accurate.
Oh, I love that. It's like, do you might just tell Saxon, by the way, you're Damon and I'm Hal in this situation. But I like when you have certain mouthpieces of the reader or certain mouthpieces that are speaking for the reader, who are meant to kind of come in, set the scene, really quickly establish what is going on or what some sort of situation is. And I find both Damon and Tal do that really well, because one of them is going to come in and be a complete chaos gremlin and is like, tell me the things. And Damon's like, okay, a little bit more measured, but he can still stir some shit. Like when Lincoln accidentally drunk dials him instead of his cousin. And then Damon shows up at the bar afterwards. I was like, you're a shit disturber. You're a shit disturber in a really nice suit. Good job, Damon.
Or even when he just like makes an appointment and doesn't say why. And so both of them are spiraling. And he's like, actually, I just wanted to give you both the contract. But like he purposely, I think when you're writing it, I mean, you purposely put him into scenes to to disturb things, to be that chaos instigator.
Yeah.
They're both nutty and I love them so much. What is there anything you want to tease about the Office Bet for those who may have not read it yet? What can people expect, or what are you really excited for them to dive into with Archer and Lincoln's story?
So for the CU and Puckboys fans, I'm really excited for Asher to be back. He is another character that I can just tap into when I want to tell the world to I was gonna say, I'm allowed to swear, right?
Oh, have at it.
Fuck yeah, you can.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, so usually when I'm about ready to tell the world to fuck up, Asher will appear. And so, yeah, and he is full on Asher Dalton in this. I did the math. I might not be right, but he's around 35 in this, and he has not grown up a day.
Oh, I love Asher. That was so nice. Like, again, I love it when you see cameos, and for those who have read them, it's a nice Easter egg to be like, oh, they're back, but it's not so overdrawn or heavy-handed that you're like, I don't understand who this is or why this is relevant. As soon as he comes onto the page, you're like, I understand his vibe. I like where this is going. And then again, it kind of teases you. I liked for people who like lists like me, I loved how at the end of the Office Bet, you're like, all the people who cameoed in this book, here are their books, so you can go find them. And I was like, oh, yes, thank you. Because again, sometimes you forget who's in what or what, what kind of, was it a Puckboy or was it a fake boyfriend series or where was it? So I love that was at the end, like, here's where you get all the backstories if you want to dive in. I'm like, oh yes, I have to go back and reread these now to get the full experience, the full ambiance of this book.
Do you have a favorite character to just like drop in as a chaos gremlin?
Ezra is always a good one because chaos follows him wherever. But recently we got that question a lot. We just did a signing in London for Rare, and yeah, a lot of people asked who our favorite character is, and just Saxon and I just in unison were like Novi. Like so he'll be in Stubborn Puckboy coming out end of this month. Oh my, a week away.
Yeah, by the time people are listening to this, because
it's going to be
releasing it for Office Bet. So
yes.
if you're listening to this and you've already finished Office Bet, or you want to go finish Puckboy before, you can go get Stubborn Puckboy at the same time. Download them both.
Yeah, I do love a good Puckboy book, and let's get that queer collective just getting a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it's just going to be in multiple sports, and it'll be all over the place, and then one day maybe it'll be a real thing in professional sports that people know about. Maybe there's like a subterfuge one right now, and we just don't even know about it. It could be a secret club. There might be a secret handshake with stickers. It'd be great. So Eden, with this upcoming release of both the Office Bet and the next Puckboy series coming out, what is the best way that people can support you, support your work, and help you keep writing these gloriously chaotic characters?
Best way to support us is to pick up the book any legal way you can through Amazon, through our websites. I've got edenfinley.com. And we've got satanverse.com where we sell our audios pretty cheaply. And yet we still get the same amount of royalty from our websites as we do from Amazon or anything like that. But yeah, basically, but if you can only afford KU, then read through KU as well. Like, as long as you're getting our books legally, we're happy.
Beautiful. And I believe do you have a Patreon as well?
I do. I always forget about that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I have a Patreon where, so I've got 4 different tiers, and a lot of them for the hot share tier and up, they will get arcs of my books, of my solo books. So
beautiful. As someone who is in your Patreon, we love to see chapters and things coming out. It's my favorite part of Patreon. It just feels like it's like a little bit behind the scenes. You get to kind of just get in there and be like, "Ooh, okay, what's going on this week? This is really exciting." I love being on Patreon. Again, if y'all can do that to support your authors, even if you can't, most authors also have free tiers set up, so you can at least stay in touch with them, so that we're not completely beholden to the social media machines that run our lives, and authors get to have a little bit more control over their audience and staying in touch with everyone. So definitely gonna check out all those, and we will put all of those links in the show notes for you. Be sure to check those out. Before we go into our wrap up and ask the final question of what we are shipping this week, a gentle reminder to head on over to Substack, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, rate, review, subscribe, get this in your earballs. I say earballs because I know Meg hates it when I say earballs, but get the show into your earballs, share it with a friend. Share it with kids who are of age and let them be the next generation of listeners to the show.
Share it to kids that aren't of age and teach them that it's okay to be queer. It's fine.
There,
It's fine.
there you go. We'll do all of those things. All right. So let's talk about what we're shipping this week. Meg, you want to kick us off for our ships?
I would love to. I am shipping this week Problematic Summer Romance by Hazelwood. It is the sequel to Not in Love. It's the couple from there. They have decided to do a destination wedding. So, Nikki, this ties into our Love on Vacation theme. It is the groom's sister and best friend who showed up in that book, and they have been best friends and sort of more than friends, but he is 15 years her senior. So he thinks that they should not be together, that she should be able to go live her life as a young 20-something and not be tied down by this old man. And she's like, well, I don't really want that. And so they're in like Sicily. It is this gorgeous villa and they're all there. And then whenever you write a destination wedding, everything goes wrong. You know, the volcano erupts and the dog runs away and there's so many things that go wrong. And it's just... If you want like an emotionally unavailable stunted hero, if you love pining for a hero who you should not love because he's just like a man wrapped in red flags, then definitely pick up Problematic Summer Romance.
My kryptonite. I hate them in real life, love them in books. It's a challenge. Eden,
I
what
wanted
about you?
to throw this book across the wall. Like every 2 or 3 chapters I wanted to throw it, but I couldn't put it down.
Love that. Eden, what about you? What are you shipping this week?
It's probably not this week. It's been the entire NHL hockey season last year, but the San Jose Sharks, they have 2 rookie players, Macklin Celebrini, who my dog is actually named after, and Will Smith, and they have the best bromance ever, and it is absolutely adorable. And I've been shipping them the whole time going, please let this be it. But
this is so on brand
we'll
for
see.
you, and I love this.
Oh, okay. That's pretty awesome. I do love that. It's like, but what if they kissed?
So really what I'm hearing is that your entire oeuvre, your entire body of work is just fanfic for hockey players kissing.
For actual real hockey players. They have sleepovers. Like, and Will drives back to the arena like every day. It's adorable.
This is rude. Do they have like a TikTok Stan account or something? Because I just need to see all of this.
Oh, the San Jose PR team is on it. Like they have.
Oh, they have discovered
Mac
Book
and
Talk,
Will
and they're
everything.
like, we know what the Book Talk girlies are doing. You know, Taylor Swift got women and girls into football. These two are going to get women and girls into hockey. The Book Talkers have been here. Let's get them. Oh my God.
Nikki, what about you? What are you shipping this week?
Oh, it's a new release from Charlie Cochet. It is Calling His Bluff. It is the latest edition in the spinoff series from the Four Kings Security series, which is one of my favorite series. And I'm just really excited because one of the main characters is Ryden, who we met back in Mason's book because he tried to kill Mason. I guess spoiler alert, it's been out for a while. You're fine. But it was like, how do you take like a service member with PTSD, with a whole bunch of mental shit going on, who literally tried to kill one of the main characters, and give him a happy ending that totally makes sense. So I was so happy because this has been a book we've been waiting for a couple years as readers. And I love that he got paired with Jay, who is King's very fiery, snappy, well-dressed assistant. I went to a black tie networking event last week, and my outfit was, white shirt, pink bow tie, black vest, but I also had a neon pink jacket with neon green and black, like leopard print on it. It's one of my favorite jackets. I got so many compliments on it. that is kind of how the character of Jay dresses. It is bright clothing, it is bow ties, it is vests. I also just love a great sartorial moment with snarky chaos gremlins. So check out Calling His Bluff. Even if you haven't read the rest of the Four Kings series, it's still a great read. Again, additional context if you have read the other series, but I would also recommend that series. It's a great series.
And
Go
obviously
forth.
we're shipping The Office Bet because we just finished it. So if you have not gone and downloaded your copy, go. Run, do not walk to Amazon, to Eden's website. Go get The Office Bet.
And then go leave a review, because we love to leave reviews for authors, and they could get more eyeballs on their things. See?
Thank
Meg.
you. Thank you. That is where the balls are.
That is where the balls are. Amazing. Eden, any final message for our soulmates listening across the world?
Thank you for listening and for sharing your time with me. And thank you for having me.
Delightful.
It was our pleasure. Thank you for being here.
And wishing you all the best with wrapping up your move. Moving sucks. So hopefully, I wish you peace and rest as you get through the rest of this. Also with like all these book releases coming up. So thank you so much for joining us. To all of you other soulmates listening in, again, a few gentle reminders. Check us out on social media. We're at First Dates and Soulmates on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Rate, review, and subscribe on Substack, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. And if you do have a little bit of money each month that you want to use to support the show, you can subscribe on Substack for the price of a grande Starbucks latte every month. You can support the work that Meg and I put into the show. We would greatly appreciate it. We did mention earlier Justice for Operations Professionals. It is a sticker. I made it a sticker. But we also have that and Tingles in the Groiny Bits and our trope stuff all in our merch store on tpublic.com. Link for you in the show notes. You too can have a Tingles in the Groiny Bits sticker. Coming up next week, we're going to be talking about 1950s rom-coms starring Marilyn Monroe and Audrey Hepburn. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.